This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We're on the Central Coast today, and we are joined by Phil Gibson. He is the president of the Paso Robles Unified School Board. Of course, Paso Robles is in North San Luis Obispo County. If we had been speaking 5 years ago, the conversation would be quite different.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, I remember covering the issue, and Paso Robles USD was on negative certification.
Correct.
That means the district was on the verge of bankruptcy.
Yes, we were.
Tell me about those dark days.
Well, I was elected in the November election 2010, and within about 8 months of being elected, we literally were facing the brink of being in bankruptcy. We were caught up because we did not have enough cash reserves, or the adequate cash reserves that a lot of other districts had.
And that's the key for negative certification.
And that the state was not funding us to the level that they were supposed to be funding us under Prop 98, and then they are also doing deferrals, meaning that they were say, we owe you the money this month, but we're not going to pay you this month, we're going to pay you 3 months down the road, which created huge cash flow problems. And because we did not have adequate reserves, we came very close to having the state come in and take over the district.
It happened in Englewood?
It happened in several, happened up in King City, which is just north of us.
So how did you avoid that calamity?
We basically had to go through our budget and cut everything that we could cut without actually closing down the schools. We had to basically go to, for example, the extracurricular activities like athletics and say we can no longer provide transportation, we can't provide even the basics for some of your programs. Unfortunately, we had to institute furlough days as well with our teachers and all of our staff.
But it's now 2016, sir.
And it's now 2016.
The glory days have arrived because you have a new superintendent, and with Prop 30 and with an improving economy and with a governor who apparently is very committed to fully funding education under Prop 98 and otherwise, you have now launched a capital facilities and curricular enhancement expenditure plan. Correct. It's a mouthful, but it is providing you with a new preschool program, after school program. You're looking at new technology, dual immersion, arts, facility upgrades, culinary arts, it goes on and on.
Correct.
Tell me.
But this is actually, just to correct maybe the perception of things, this is, yes, much better, but we think actually our glory days are ahead of us because
well stated.
The thing that we've actually done is we've set very high expectations with no excuses, and we're very rapidly moving towards those high expectations. So yes, things are much better. As you indicated, the funding from the state is improving every year. They still owe us some money that they have not paid.
They're getting close.
And they're still not funding us 100%, but with that and
but you're at pre-recession levels, no? Meaning funding is at pre-recession levels, is it not?
No, it's not.
Not quite yet?
No, not
close?
quite yet. It's getting there.
Getting there,
it's getting
okay.
Close. Okay, but we've also done a realignment of our budget.
Right.
Towards directing our resources back towards the students and into the classroom.
Right.
So,
I was speaking with your superintendent, and he really sharpened his pencil. And a lot of the savings, they're coming from the oddest of places, from water, from energy. I mean, he and you as well. I mean, the whole infrastructure is looking to figure out a way to squeeze the most out of every dollar, and apparently it's working.
Yeah, we've been very innovative. We put together an ad hoc facilities committee. And we looked primarily at the two things, one being a water mitigation, because we're in a severe drought, and obviously we're hoping to come out of it. But we thought, hey, being good stewards and good leaders in our community, that we need to look at that. And we also looked at solar. So the water mitigation, the Reader's Digest version of it is that we're investing about $3.2 million with the idea that we are looking to not only get the money back, but to also get more money back or more savings back for our investment. Right. And in so doing, we're going to save almost $12 million or 12 million gallons of water a year.
And that provides financial savings.
And that provides enough financial savings to pay for the initial cost plus, and then we also
you're putting in turf, so that should save some water, which is fantastic.
Right. And then on the solar, we looked into that, and after years of being told it was not feasible, we entered into an agreement with SunEdison that basically at no cost to the district, we can take our $1 million a year PG&E bill, and over the next 20 years we can save, we're estimating to save about $9.4 million.
And can you send some of the energy you collect back to the grid and make some money there?
Well, the idea of that is we basically do a land lease with some of our sites, and then we enter into an agreement to buy the electricity that's produced at our sites. Then the key of it is because we've learned from some other local area school districts, is that we entered into agreement to buy the electricity at a fixed rate with no escalator clause, so the rates will never go up.
I want to ask you about a potential bond that would be on your ballot in November. School bonds tend to be popular. Under California's Constitution, they need a 55% vote, and so not as high as the 66.66 for other types of bonds. There's discussion about whether to put a bond on your ballot. Talk us through it. What's the thinking?
I would think that pretty much was 100% certainty that we are going to.
Oh, you're going for it.
We're probably going to be going for it. We've been working on this process for a long time. You indicated correctly so that we're actually also working on a master's facility plan where we've taken a look at every one of our facilities and all of our structures and infrastructure, including our internet and the grid that we have.
We're glad to help you on the internet at Charter, but that's another conversation. Continue, sir.
And we actually have hired 2 different architecture firms that are going around and taking a look at all of our sites. Frankly, we have some sites that not only are they 30 or 40 years old, but we have some sites that are 50, 60, 70, 80 years old. And many of them have never been upgraded. So again, we're taking a look at that and just determining what are our needs moving forward. And the key is with this is not that we need new facilities is that everything is student-based towards student success and student achievement. And we're saying what are our needs from the students and the curriculum, and then we look at that and then looking at our facilities and saying what do we need.
Do you have a sense as to whether your community would get behind a bond? I think it's fair to say Paso Robles, more right of center than left of center. That doesn't mean that those that are right of center wouldn't vote for a bond, but you may need to do a little more convincing. Is that fair?
I would say that's a fair assessment, that there's a certain group or faction in Paso Robles that is automatically against government spending or any government spending or any increase in government spending, however you want to characterize that, and they're going to have a little more convincing than the others. But the reality is this is our kids. This is our kids' future, and the buildings are older. I'm actually a business insurance broker as occupation. I can say that, when we go to an underwriter and the building's 30 years old or older, they're saying, when's the last time you've upgraded the wiring and plumbing? And we have many buildings that have never been upgraded.
So when will we have a sense as to the amount of the bond and on what the bond money would be spent, and when would that spending begin? Continue.
Well, okay, so the process basically is, like I said, we have a couple of architectural firms, local architectural firms that are going through, and every board meeting, starting with the one we had last week, they are coming to us with 3 or 4 sites and giving preliminary plans. And we're going through this process of determining, what the facilities would look like, again, aligned with the curricular needs of our students. And I'm expecting that by the end of April, we're going to have a pretty firm idea of what sort of structures and buildings we have, and then we can do a cost analysis for that. So sometime in May, I would expect that we would be voting to either put the bond, to put the bond on the November ballot.
Talk to us about how you campaign for the bond.
Well, that's again
that
is a discussion. So again, the state law says that the school district itself cannot use the resources or funding to do that. So,
but can you, as a human?
Absolutely. Myself as an individual, I absolutely can go out, as well as all the rest of the school board.
But you're not going out as the school board president.
We cannot go as a school board president. We can't use district funds. So this is something where we have to get together concerned citizens, and put together a citizens committee and put together a campaign just like any other campaign.
Fascinating. His name is Field Gibson. He is the president of the Paso Robles Unified School Board. We are on the Central Coast today. My name is Brad Pomerance. This is Charter Local Edition.